Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 50 of the Expansion Pack podcast, where we download this week's gaming news and, of course, we bring it straight to you. I'm your host, Danzel, joined by my amazing co hosts each and every week, starting off with the boy Goop Master Flex to my right, aka Manny. What's going on, bro?
You're no stay goofing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, right?
Gotta say, Monday through Friday, not even 7 days a week, 24/7.
24. Oh, okay.
24/7.
Said 25-8, yo. Keep it
25/8.
a
There you
whole
go.
buck.
Bro, once you unlock the power, your eyes will be opened and you'll see a new force within.
When's the book dropping, man?
Damn. Man, you about to turn into this dude Gator from
I
Dave.
need either a book or I need you to start a chain of fortune cookies with your quotables on them.
That's not a bad idea,
Manny's quotables are about to be like all the other weird things. Hiya.
The one within is not without the one in.
Wow.
Okay.
What the?
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Good Master Flex. Moving on, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Chris, aka Mr. May 25th. What's going on, Chris?
As I always say, same shit, different toilet, y'all. It's a good day. Good day. Long day, but a good day.
Good day for sure. It's definitely a good day, guys. This is our 50th episode. As you guys you guys are watching on the YouTube channel, you'll see, we got things looking a little different here. It's little different setup, Like I said, I got Manny over to my right, got Chris down below. Shout out to Chris for setting this overlay up. So hope you guys like it. Let us know what you think. We changing up the logo and all that stuff. But yeah, for this 50th episode, we got definitely a couple things to talk about here. A lot of pretty granular topics. We're gonna get into the metaverse and what the heck that is and what that means for gaming. Also, a couple of stories around a new Marvel game and Microsoft partnering up with Sega. But before we get into all of that stuff, Chris, you already know what it is. Take it away.
I haven't done that in mad long. It felt good. All right. Icebreaker, y'all. 2 months left in the year, right? And obviously there's gonna be at least a few more gaming announcements, but what's one final huge one you think we get before the year is over? Could be at the Game Awards, could not be at the Game Awards, could just be a tweet, could be whatever we get. What do y'all think is going to be before we hit 2022? What we get?
Okay. You want to start it off?
First, all right, I'll start it off. This kind of goes back to a smaller conversation we had on the pod, I want to say a few weeks ago. A very small, minute conversation. I think we're going to get the announcement of another revival of a franchise. I don't know why I feel this in my gut. I really do. I think they're going to eventually say some Castlevania shit. In some way, shape, or form, I think that franchise has got to be on its way back. It's got to be. Okay. The more I think about that shit, man, it's like literal money just sitting right there that they're not doing nothing with. If y'all gonna find time to make a Bayonetta sequel, to make serious Sam sequels, hey yo, stop playing. Stop playing.
But Sam's serious, yo.
I know he's serious, but I ain't serious about that game. You know what I'm saying?
It's because Sam's staying gooping, that's why.
I'm just saying, there's just stop playing, yo. Y'all got Unreal Engine 5 sitting out there and all this new bullshit, bro. Give Castlevania. Matter of fact, I have to ask this question: Who owns is that Capcom? Castlevania? Who owns
Konami.
That? Konami.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because we got some Kojima shit still supposed to happen at some point, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
Kojima and Konami, that relationship's dead, bro. That's not gonna happen.
What happened was Kojima was gooping, but Konami wasn't, so they kind of split.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm surprised there hasn't been a sequel. I mean, we got the Castlevania series that actually been a hit. I'm sure that catch some popularity, and why not cash it in with a nice little Castlevania game? Maybe start a little series there to kick it off.
I think the problem is Konami's focus is just not on traditional games right now. Like they're making a lot of money with mobile games and arcade stuff, and I think they're comfortable with that for now. And obviously, you know, we at least with the announcement of Silent Hill, it seems like they're willing to maybe license out or like partner with third-party developers to start making stuff. So maybe we might get something, but chances are it's going to be a long way out.
Because it's this. I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those games that just kind of sits on the shelf and truly makes no sense. It's not a game that like sold horribly or something in the past or has this bad reputation there's none of that. So I'm like, why? I don't know. I've seen way lesser games get sequels, and this shit just blows my mind.
I feel you.
Like serious, Sam.
It's more about the company than the game itself, though. That's really what I boil it down to, right? Like if I don't know if Ubisoft or EA, like for all the shit that people give both of those companies, like if they own those franchises, you already know there would have been another Castlevania game out, right? Like, so
yeah,
it really.
I mean, I don't know. It kind of taking them a long time to get Splinter Cell going, so.
Yeah, don't get started on that, bro. I don't know if I'm ready for them to make like I want a Splinter Cell game, but I don't know if I do want a Splinter Cell game as far as where Ubisoft is right now. But it's a conversation for another time.
Fuck around and get a Kingdom Hearts 3.
You're gonna have a free to play Splinter Cell, you know, Battle Royale, Sam Fisher.
I need you to not. I need you to stop trying to speak that into. I mean, actually, I don't know if I'd be that mad about a battle royale like Spies versus Mercs if they did it right, but I know that we've said things in the past on this podcast and they've come to light. Let's taper that conversation down a little bit. Moving on, Manny, what is your answer for the icebreaker?
I feel like in the last couple of years, we see Microsoft come out with hitters. I mean, 2 years ago, we got the Xbox Series X. Last year with Perfect Dark. I feel like this might be a time to show maybe a little piece of what Coalition's working on. Maybe a little teaser of like a new IP that they have, or maybe like a Gears. I know Gears is going to be a far stretch because like they just finished working on like all the DLC for Gears 5 and they're actually starting to work on 6. But if we, you know, are lucky enough to get like a little glimpse of what they're working on next, I would be satisfied with that announcement. And I'm hoping that would be like that big announcement we got at the Game Awards from Microsoft. Because like I said, every year they just don't miss.
Yeah. No, you're definitely not wrong. I think we're getting maybe like 3 or 4 big announcements from Microsoft at the Game Awards, in my opinion. But yeah, I would love to see something from the Coalition. Like, especially if this rumored like Mandalorian thing is happening, if they're even remotely responsible for anything related to Star Wars, like I would love to see how the Coalition goes about this. They did say they're ways out with their next game, and it's gonna, you know, whatever it is going to be using Unreal Engine 5. So to get like a taste of that, yeah, that would be really fucking huge. I would be very excited for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So considering I said that I think Microsoft's gonna go ham pretty much at the Game Awards, I do think there's gonna be a number of announcements. So I'm gonna pivot away from Microsoft on this one, and I actually think Sony might hit us with a pretty big announcement around this whole like PlayStation and Netflix partnership that we've heard about. This past week actually, Netflix just announced or just released, I guess you should say, their like Netflix games thing. I think right now it's only on Android, so I don't think it actually works for iPhones just yet, but it's been pretty bare bones off the rip. Like there's a couple like like 8-bit fucking Stranger Things games and whatnot.
Couple of Serious Sam's on there.
Oh god.
Serious Sam.
Hey man, you never know down the road. But yeah, I think Netflix has heard enough about this whole like Game Pass being the Netflix of games thing, and I think they want to dip their toes in the water a little bit deeper than just a couple 8-bit games. This is clearly like a first step, and I can see the Game Awards being a place where Jeff Keighley in particular would maybe want to partner with them to help kind of have them bring out announcements, especially attached to Sony. Maybe we might be seeing some sort of a Ghost of Tsushima type of Netflix game or something. That would be kind of cool. So the Netflix and PlayStation partnership might grow a little bit, or maybe we'll just get some other type of announcement. But I do think Netflix in particular will have a bigger announcement by the end of the year, specifically around the Game Awards. So
that would be interesting, but
forgot about Netflix, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
We gotta see how Netflix goes with this first batch of games they got. That shooting the back, no, the hoops game. I forgot what it's called. The shoot hoops.
I think they're just proofing the technology, right? I think it's just like, let's just put it out there. Let's get some really silly games. Make sure that the streaming works. It doesn't break or anything like that. And then I think once they put the app on iPhone, they might start throwing more games on there because it's easier for them to test things out on Android. Also, there's the whole situation with how Apple treats like game streaming services and all that stuff. So I think they might be biding their time so they can work something out with Apple, and then they're gonna like actually push some really good stuff out. So fingers crossed, guys.
Coming out with a controller.
Netflix?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
You think they will?
Nah,
I doubt it.
because like from the looks of it, it's just like mostly like mobile games that you can easily play with your thumbs.
Right. And I think they'll
Like,
just rely on like people using like a PlayStation or an Xbox controller because their phones already support it. If I was Netflix, I wouldn't bother wasting the money on like that kind of hardware stuff because then you have distribution and all this different stuff that Netflix is not good at right now. Like if I'm them, I'm just focusing on the streaming aspects. And that's it.
I was just thinking about like how it would look like if somebody was just literally just trying to play on their big screen in the living room or whatever. But I got you.
Be interesting, that's for sure.
Maybe.
I mean, we'll keep an eye on Netflix. They're trying to make their play, and obviously, everybody and their mother is making some sort of play in gaming right now. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, we'll get to our first story here, getting into the topics for the week. So we're starting right off with apparently a new Marvel game that's being made. We don't know for sure what the game is or what character it's tied to, but the big news is that Amy Hennig is actually going to be like spearheading the project. So for those of you who don't know who Amy Hennig is, she's I think she's best known for her work on the Uncharted games. She's an amazing storyteller, and obviously we know how things have gone with Uncharted. That's an absolutely fantastic franchise. But yeah, word around town is that Amy Hennig is making a AAA game with Marvel Games and Skydance New Media, which is I don't know if you guys know, like Skydance. I think they've partnered to make some Walking Dead material in the past, so I think they're pretty big on.
Wait, Skydance. Skydance.
Not to get confused with Brain Dance,
No. I'm just thinking. I remember their logo on a lot of the comics from before I was
right. Exactly. The Walking Dead comic in particular is one of the ones that they've worked on. So yeah, they're I think they're big into comic books and like also like adaptations of comic books into games and other forms of media. So this is definitely going to be very interesting. But there's an article from, let's see here, from Windows Central here, and I think they got a quote from Hennig saying, "I can't imagine a better partner than Marvel for our first game." So it looks like she's actually building this new studio. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, Skydance New Media, I guess, is a new thing, a brand new studio that Hennig is spearheading, as well as some former EA executives. So, there's some industry veterans there. Good chance that it may be something pretty big. So she goes on to say that the Marvel Universe epitomizes all the action, mystery, and thrills of the pulp adventure genre that I adore and lends itself perfectly to an interactive experience. It's an honor to be able to tell an original story with all the humanity, complexity, and humor that makes Marvel characters so enduring, and to enable our players to embody these heroes that they love. Now, again, like we mentioned, Amy Hennig very critically acclaimed the fact that she's made the Uncharted games, which are amazing, and we've seen where that franchise is going right now. It's a big deal, and I'm really, really curious what like hero it is that she gets to, work with. Like it's clearly not going to be an Avengers game because we already have that.
Yeah.
That Guardians of the Galaxy game is apparently getting very good reviews. I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet. I may try to pick that up maybe like around the holiday or something like that if it goes on sale or whatnot. But very, very good reviews. So, it seems like Marvel Games in particular is gonna continue to kind of spread the wealth. Like I think you'll definitely still see obviously the Spider-Man stuff stick with Insomniac, but it seems like it's kind of a good thing that we're getting some diversity of studios and whatnot. So with that being said, what do you guys think of this? Is there a particular hero that you'd like to see her work on? Considering she's done such great work with like a very like single player, like story focused things such as Uncharted. So what would you guys want to see? Manny, I'll start with you.
Hmm. You know what we haven't gotten in a while is a Blade game, and that was with the movie coming down the line soon. I mean, we know this game is in very early development, so who's to say maybe we get a Blade game sometime in the future from Amy Hennig. I would be definitely down for that. Especially I'm excited to see my boy Marshall Ali. I forgot his name.
Mahershala.
Mahershala. There we go.
Mhm.
I'm getting that wrong. You know what I'm saying? But but I'm definitely excited to see a movie, and I feel like one way to like extend that the Blade series itself is through gaming, and we see like some games like the Spider-Man games, and who knows, maybe that Wolverine game will smack too since it's from Insomniac. So I feel like that'll be like a good way to kind of like bring that out and make it more popular.
Yeah, I feel that. Chris, what do you think, man?
Um, so I saw something, I want to say like a day or two ago, and I didn't read the full article, but they were suggesting that it should be like a Daredevil thing. And I was like, I like that, but then I don't like it. Because here's the reason why. So for Daredevil, I love the idea of them taking that character, fleshing it out really well, telling a really good story, because his universe is better at storytelling than a lot of the other characters, in my opinion. Right? However, there's that other part of me that's like, man, why has it got to be in a video game though? Why do they keep trying to like segment him like off from everything and not just give him another really good movie? Because I think he deserves that, but like I don't know. Either way, if they gave him a video game, I think it could be Marvel's version of like a Gotham Knights kind of style game, just in terms of the tone, the grittiness to it, the darkness, and I also think they would get a lot of the fluidity of the fight stuff down easily. If you think about how he fights, it's not like Spider-Man, it's not like Batman, but the way how the mechanics in those games work and him doing his thing, I could see it. I could easily see it.
I think it's very much like Batman. Like that's actually literally what I would envision for that is like Arkham Knight style fighting. And I'm glad you brought up the Daredevil thing because that's what I was gonna get into. Was there's a pretty heavy rumor out there that Daredevil is going to be the character that they're making the game around, and I'm very excited for this because I do think that Daredevil lends himself perfectly to a single player narrative driven game. If you guys have seen the Netflix show, I mean, that's all you need to know right there, right? That game, that show was amazing, and it's unfortunate that they couldn't flesh it out any further. But I want that. I really really want that. I really can't see this being another like team up type of game, right? I don't think it's going to be based on the X-Men. I don't think it's going to be like a Fantastic Four thing. I actually think that, and this kind of makes me sad if it is Daredevil. I actually think that they could very specifically be straying away from any of the like any potential movie tie-ins. Like we talked about this before. Marvel Games is clearly not trying to set things up so that they coincide with movies at this point. The MCU and Marvel Games are like completely different entities, right? I mean, as evident with this Guardians of the Galaxy game, they didn't use any of the same actors, even though Chris Pratt's been voice acting in like everything on Earth. So you could have easily made him Star-Lord. But I think it was very specific that they didn't do that, so that they sat on their own as their own entity altogether. So Yeah, like it kind of sucks, but yeah, Daredevil is something that I could see. Selfishly, someone that I would love to see, and I know that this is gonna happen. So before I say anything, like I'm going to say that Gambit is easily one of my favorite heroes in the X-Men, and if they could make a fucking like story-based Gambit game, dude, he is one of the baddest motherfuckers in Marvel. Like, and the fact that we still don't have anything from him.
His powers are top 5 too, just in terms of cool aesthetics. He has one of the best powers. And it wasn't even the fact the powers looked cool, and then he was so cool using them. He'd just be standing there with the card and just.
He's just the epitome of cool, bro. He's just mad smooth. Like
with the chain. Remember when he used to have the chain and he used to do it with that? Bruh. He had the chain, he had the staff. Yo, Gambit was that dude, bro. Yeah.
No, can we get a Channing Tatum?
Chill.
No.
Chill.
Maybe I want a sexy Gambit.
I don't
want chill. That. No Big Daddy Gambits, bro.
I want a Goop and Gambit.
He can still be sexy. I just don't want. I don't want Channing Tatum. I want go get Troy Baker, who voices literally everything in gaming, to voice him, and I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. Troy Baker's literally voiced like every character there possibly has ever been in gaming. I'm pretty sure he voiced Batman at one point. I'm pretty sure he's voiced Spider-Man in one of like some of the older Spider-Man games. I think Shattered Dimensions, I think he was in. I'm not sure, but yeah. Get him and get me a Gambit game stat, boys. Oh,
yeah. See, man. The thing about the Gambit thing that's really cool too is they barely. You gotta really be a fan to know his story and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really go into that ever really in any capacity, except for if you really read the comics and stuff. But even in like the animated series, every so often they give you a little taste of what Gambit's about, and they give you a little bit of knowledge about where he's from or whatever. But they have never ever really put like true spotlight on him the way how they've done the other characters.
Yep.
So like, how do I put this? I would wager. I ain't got a lot to wager, but I would wager that you know how when Black Panther came out, it was a sensational hit, but a big part of why it was a sensational hit is because unfortunately a lot of the mainstream folks didn't even know he existed until they kind of like made him a mainstream thing. I feel the same way about Gambit if they did him right, because if you talk to a casual, they know the X-Men. A lot of them don't know Gambit. Like nerd people know Gambit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
I would push back on that. I would push back on that solely in the thought that the Black Panther thing was cultural, and it was like this was like okay, this was like culturally one of the first Black superheroes in comic books, so it made sense for him to have his movie and all that other stuff. So even though people didn't know about him, it was like there's an appeal here. Gambit, he's not going to get his own game because it just doesn't make sense. Like he is very strictly tied to this one universe, right? It's not like you'd very often see him like out and about doing his own thing. You don't really see like Gambit comic books. Like he did have like I think a couple runs on his own, but like he's not a well-known guy. So like as far as money goes, you're not gonna make a thing about him. But man, he's a badass dude, bro.
Yeah. It just would be introducing him to so many new eyes that just like don't even have an idea that he's a thing.
I think when
and then, like you see him, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
who's that?
I think when like Marvel, when Disney and Marvel finally make that X-Men movie, like I think they are going to put him in there, and I think once that happens, like I think they're going to cast him really well. We're diving into like completely different territory, but I just want to say this real quick. I think they're going to cast him really well, and B, I think they'll cast him in such a way that he will be one of those people that like audiences are going to fall in love with, even though he's not going to be the focal point of the movie because like that character is just that type of dude. So yeah.
I'm excited for that. A lot of his screen time went to guys like Iceman and shit in the other movies. You know what I'm saying? Like. And I like Iceman in terms of the comics, but like movie Iceman wasn't him. Except for that one scene when he went full Iceman, and I was like, yo, that shit was kind of hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Even comic book Iceman ain't touching a candle to Gambit, bro. Gambit is the most badass dude in X-Men aside from Logan. And like
Yeah.
Makes me mad.
But like he's got more swag than Logan, though. That's the thing.
Infinite.
Logan is just a badass in terms of like he's visceral and you don't fuck with Logan. You know what I mean? You get the impression like he'll stab like anybody type of thing. Whereas Gambit, he's the dude you look at him, you're like, yo, I ain't gonna hold you. Like I'm secure and shit, right? But like I kind of want to be like home, yo. Like that's Gambit, you know what I'm saying? Like he's the ladies' man, he's a smooth talker, he's all those cool things, and it's just like, damn.
Give me a Gambit game, guys. I want it.
Imagine the dialogue in those video games, bro. If they got the right voice actor and the dialogue was how it needs to be for his character, he would be everything that's not corny about fucking Dante from Devil May Cry. That's the last thing I'm gonna say. You know how Dante is very cringy sometimes with his voice acting? Some of the lines are bad.
He totally
very
is.
bad.
He totally is. But like,
Gambit would be the better version of that.
Because we can't talk
Imagine
about
him with a Trish and all that. Come on, man. Like
you got me. Dude,
right, well,
and I love Dante too. Like Dante's that dude.
I do too.
But like he is mad corny.
Sometimes.
He's mad corny. Okay. Sorry, Manny, what were you saying before we move on?
I was gonna say, you know, I like how you mentioned at the beginning of the show, many things we speak come into light. Who knows? You gotta sprinkle in that little goop and stuff in and
I'm with him. It's a lifestyle.
That goop seasoning. Oh man, I'm done. It's the other way. All right, moving on to the next topic, guys. So we got some pretty big news Monday morning. I would say Sunday night, I guess, because you know how time frames work as far as the companies involved, but got some pretty big news out of Sega and Microsoft. So to be very clear, I'm going to say Microsoft and not necessarily Xbox. Apparently they're partnering up, and I'm going to read off a little article here again from our friends at Windows Central. So reads Microsoft and Sega announced a strategic alliance on Sunday. In a press release, Sega confirmed that the partnership will allow both companies to start exploring game development using the Microsoft Azure cloud infrastructure. This partnership will also aid in the development of Sony's previously announced Super Game project. What's that?
You said Sony again.
Oh, Sega.
Goddamn.
It's close enough. No. Sega's previously announced Super Game project, which is currently years away from launch. So let's see here. There's a quote from Sarah Bond that says, Sega has played such an iconic role in the gaming industry and has been a tremendous partner over the years. We look forward to working together as they explore new ways to create unique gaming experiences for future using Microsoft's cloud technology. So this whole like Super Game thing, I honestly had never heard of this before.
I was just gonna ask you that because I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, but apparently they did announce it. It just kind of flew under the radar because like Sega hasn't really done anything huge except for the Yakuza series, I guess, recently. But yes. So continuing on, Sega's Super Game is focused on a few key pillars such as global online community and IP utilization. I think when they say IP utilization, I think they're talking about like Sega's IP, like intellectual properties. And to me, I read that as, and we're getting a little ahead of, this is really the next topic. So I guess we're all just gonna fuse this all together here. But to me, that reads like Sega's making a metaverse of their own. And like when I hear IP utilization, I think like, okay, they're gonna throw all their different properties in there. So like Sonic will be involved. I guess people from Yakuza would be involved. Honestly, I can't think of any other Sega properties off the top of my head. Mega Man? Is that Sega? No, that's Capcom. Sorry. Yeah, it's just really weird. Like all of this is weird, and it definitely like shook up Twitter in particular when it happened because a lot of people had a lot of questions. Again, like I said, to be very clear, this seems like a very specific partnership between Microsoft and Sega. And the reason why I kept saying Sony is because this harkens back to the same partnership that Sony has with Microsoft around the utilization of their cloud gaming stuff or their cloud infrastructure. So we know that Sony is using Microsoft's cloud infrastructure for them to build whatever future cloud gaming thing it is that they plan on doing. So it sounds very much like the Sega partnership is in this same vein. Um, a lot of people kind of hypothesize that this could mean we'll get more Sega games on Game Pass and so on and so forth. We know Sega's relationship with Microsoft has been increasing due to the Yakuza franchise. We've seen all the Yakuzas pop up on Game Pass, so it wouldn't be too surprising to see that maybe this Super Game thing might pop up on Game Pass. But I want to hone in on this Super Game thing. Chris, you had your face showed a lot of reaction there. So I want to get your take on what you think this is and what questions you might have. So go for it.
I'm really struggling not to think it's just some super buzzword that they wanted to use, right? Maybe they really have something cooking, but then when I think about like something where they're mushing all of their stuff into one with all their IPs, I don't see a game that like makes sense. Like, how do you put stuff from Yakuza with stuff from Sonic and some of these other games and come up with something that actually makes sense? Unless you're going to do something that's like, I guess, close to like a Kingdom Hearts kind of thing where you have multiple game worlds, or maybe you do something like that. But like, I don't know. I think that's a really, really weird way to say it. I think that's probably the first thing they should address is the definition of what it means. Or does it mean that you guys are coming up with something that's innovative that we haven't seen before? That would, require a bigger term than just a video game. It's really vague and it doesn't really say a lot. Then I kind of like, I don't know. Well, I think they got their desired reaction with people talking about it, but
yeah,
you gotta kind of follow it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I think the vagueness of it is very on purpose because I don't think like they're technically not really announcing it, right? They're announcing the partnership to say that this is what we're utilizing to build said game. So I think whenever they're ready to actually show the game off, because I think they said somewhere in this in their original press release that the game is at least like maybe 5 years out. So yeah, I really think this boils down to like a metaverse thing. I really, really do. And then, we'll get into that metaverse thing again in a second. But Manny, I want to get your take before we move on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just put global and online and community in the same sentence without, having to think about them trying to take their own like metaverse into hand, especially partnering with Microsoft and using the Azure cloud feature. So it's like, Facebook, it's like all timing. Facebook announces their thing, and then it's like this partnership happens, and it's too close in hand that that I can't think of the right word, but it's too. Now it's gonna get coincidental. There we go. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Appreciate that. Gotcha. But I feel like it's too coincidental that you have these two things pretty much announced pretty much at the same time, and it's like I can't wait to see what they do. I mean, if it's like one thing that kind of worries me is like if you base it off like IP utilization and like basically use like your old IPs with this, like are you talking about like we're gonna be running like Sonic in the Sonic worlds and like or are you talking about like making a brand new IP? And I just kind of want to figure out what they kind of mean by IP utilization. But other than that, if they're like coming out here partying with Microsoft to bake out like a banging metaverse, whatever, then like that would be definitely super exciting, especially since like Sega really hasn't done anything really except for like the Yakuza series recently. And we even heard like a lot of rumors about Sega either going out, being bought out by other companies, and then they just come out with this news, and it's like, okay, Sega, I see you making a comeback.
Yeah. I think the rumor was that Microsoft was going to buy them, right? So it's kind of ironic that instead of a purchase outright, they're partnering with them on something that seems to be what they're staking the future of their company on. obviously this seems to be a thing that a lot of people might be staking the future of their companies on. So with that being said, we'll dive into the next thing here, which is the metaverse as a whole. Starting off with Facebook, and you might be wondering, what the hell does Facebook have to do with gaming? We'll get there. So they're making a big bet that in the next 10 years, the metaverse will be the future of how we interact on the internet, right? So instead of it being that we're all on social media like we are now, or focusing on websites like we are now, and primarily kind of how the internet started, they're making a big bet that we'll all be living in basically Ready Player One, where you hop online, you put on your VR headset or like AR glasses or something like that, and you're just in this like big interconnected world where you know your avatar can be Sonic, your avatar could be Master Chief if you wanted it to be, or whatever it is that you want to be. And all these games and things that we play will be different corners or aspects of the metaverse, where like Halo will have its own world, and that's where you go and you play. You'll be out here playing uh fucking Arena Slayer or something like that in the metaverse. Like, it's very, very granular, and it's kind of like hard to wrap your head around in a way, because again, this is a thing that could potentially be 10 years out. It's interesting that Facebook, again, staking the future of their company on it, because they've changed the name of their parent company to Meta, and now Facebook itself will just be a product under the Meta umbrella. So again, you're thinking about Meta, or formerly known as Facebook, and where they can really establish their role in the metaverse, and then where the metaverse comes into gaming, and it points you directly to Oculus. Oculus is their VR arm. For those of you who didn't know, yeah, Facebook, or Meta, now owns Oculus, and we know that the Oculus Quest has actually been a very successful product for Facebook. So the idea that they're taking this thing that exists already with VR, and I guess looking into how they can expand it further with augmented reality, as well as furthering more games and whatnot. Actually, within that conversation, one of the things that they announced within their big Meta announcement was the fact that you're going to be able to play GTA San Andreas in VR, which is kind of fucking crazy. But again, think of that as like its own world in the metaverse, right? Like, let's actually stop and talk about that for a second,
I
because
would never leave that word.
like, what the actual fuck? That's like crazy.
No. I am there every day.
This is getting scary, bro. Not scary in a bad way.
On some real shit, bro. If they had a GTA shit that I put, come on, son. I'm in there every day doing the dumbest, most wildest shit that I know I'm gonna get in trouble for.
No, we about to be in grocery, like, yo, what's up, Chris? How you doing, bro?
Yo, I really do think that's like a big deal, though. Like, they would have to. You can't do this in VR. That don't work. That doesn't work. So
10 years, Yeah.
Well, I mean, but this game is coming out like soon, apparently, right?
Yeah.
Like they're saying that they're making this game particularly for Oculus Quest 2. I mean, I have a Quest 2. Like, I'm gonna be buying that shit. Actually, speaking of which, I need to buy Resident Evil 4. Just reminded me, because that came out on the Quest 2 as well. I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know, like, horror stuff in VR is tough for me. That's really tough for me. I love playing horror games, but VR, that's a different story. But I might try it. I have to try it. Resident Evil 4 is a classic. But yeah, like Grand Theft Auto in VR. Like, what? You have to come correct with that, because the thing about VR is, the moment like you have janky graphics or like janky things happening, it takes you out of the experience. With the exception of something like Minecraft, that works because Minecraft is what it is. Like, it's purposefully blocky. It's not trying to look realistic in any meaningful way. So I'm wondering, why don't they just make GTA 6 in VR? Like, wouldn't that have made more? I mean, I don't know. Unless they really are going for it and actually going to revamp San Andreas more than what we've seen with this remaster that's coming out.
No.
I mean,
it's a test run.
Maybe.
You say maybe we should try with GTA 6, but they want to try with something that's already came out. GTA 6 ain't coming out anytime soon. They're making
the next 10 years. got to within the next 10.
Well,
no way it doesn't.
The metaverse gonna come up before that.
You know what though? That man, you kind of making a good point though, because if this is like a test situation and they're making like this is Rockstar's opportunity to get familiar with VR, get familiar with these technologies. So now you're making the San Andreas game. So now when GTA 6 comes out, if you decide to make a VR version of it, you're ready to go. You're already familiar with certain technologies. You know what? I could see this being like a test bed thing.
Pilot,
like,
man. Yeah, it's
yeah.
pilot.
Good point. Good point.
That's
gentlemen.
wild, though, bro. I'm telling you that right now. Y'all could charge $100 for that game if it's on a headset, and I could realistically walk up to somebody and just pull my car and then get in the whip, and I'm like, what, yo, dog? Who would not play that? I know old people that's playing that. Like, stop playing, bro. Like,
yes, absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
That is. Oh my god.
I think for as much as people make jokes about like VR and like I've seen a lot of jokes about this whole metaverse thing, I think largely more because it's Facebook is the one who's talking about it, and nobody likes Facebook right now. But really, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense that this like is where we're heading. Like for as problematic as some of these things could be. But you think about how gaming's been set up so far and how they've used like different pieces of technology to make the experience more immersive, right? We have like the Adobe Atmos stuff, right? Like we've been playing, with our Adobe Atmos headsets to play certain games and like getting the spatial audio stuff to feel like you're more immersed in a game. Now imagine like translating that into VR and like subsequently this metaverse thing where you're walking around and like it really sounds like someone's behind you and you turn around literally and something's happening behind you, right? Like that level of immersion on all these little pieces of technology coming together. It's gonna be crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, we already got VR chat too, and it's like, VR chat is one step, but now we're talking about like a whole universe that people like essentially be living in. Like nowadays, gaming is big. You've seen a lot of streamers pop off because of like COVID and like people really realizing like gaming can really bring like all of us together. And then I add this whole metaverse feature, and next thing you know, it's like, it's just everybody living in this virtual universe, being themselves, because sometimes it's just hard to be yourselves in real life. It's hard to stay gooping all the time. So
bring it back to that.
Like, it's just like a really good opportunity for those people to really like branch out and like just basically live life how they want in the meta universe. It's just gonna be weird how like things are gonna work because like. It's gonna be taken seriously to a point where people gonna be starting their own businesses and everything like that.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
That was literally a big part of that presentation was like Mark Zuckerberg was like, like we have to get ready now. Like we have to start getting ready to build ecosystems for people. Like whole economies are going to be built out of that world.
Crazy because like that itself, and I'm sure cryptocurrency is going to take a huge like part in the future too, because you can't really take like your real dollars into a virtual universe. I mean, well, you can because there's microtransactions in real life. So, but like like that's just going to take a big play in like cryptocurrency as well, and just like a lot of things will change. And like if this thing really does pop off in the mainstream and become like a Ready Player One type of thing where everybody's basically glued to their own thing, that would be weird because like one
it's gonna be weird. That'd be weird. I don't think it's gonna be good for our society. It's already fucked up. But
it'll be cool to our things. It's like, yo, who's gonna do grocery shopping?
I remember Wally.
I'm making Wally.
Nah, I'm telling you, remember the ship full of people and how they got all crazy? That's gonna be us if we get that shit.
That's why I said it's scary.
We won't all be fat though, because we'll be moving around playing basketball and all that stuff. So
it's crazy because I've been seeing like not a lot of ads, but like there'll be sometimes where I see ads for like this like little like VR setup where you like it would be like a little treadmill pad and you just walking around everything like that. So that's stuff like that is already happening.
That's
now like
literally right out of Ready Player One too. That's like the craziest part to me.
So we're getting there as an aspect of like technology. So it's just a matter of time before like that becomes accessible to everybody, because not only like these like companies are testing it out now, but once they perfect it, I mean, there's there are a lot of people who's just gonna, or manufacturers just gonna do it themselves and try to like fight out the competition, do it for cheaper pricing. It may be low quality, but like the fact that it will soon be accessible to pretty much everybody is gonna be crazy because like once we get to that point where everybody has access to these things and be able to like go on the like internet and just be able to like chill in this metaverse. Like I can't imagine how crazy it's gonna be. We're all gonna be chilling, going to concerts and everything like that in the metaverse. Probably even like I'm sure there'll probably be like a little metaverse thing where you're just like in the VR and chilling in the basketball game. I think there's already like a VR experience now with it. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like that's something in the future too. Just like, oh, you want to watch this in the metaverse experience? You got to pay with the 10 cryptocurrency.
10
I'm just
Bitcoin.
excited.
Bro, you know how expensive 10 Bitcoin is? Oh my god. One Bitcoin is like what? Like $300,000 or something like that. Bitcoin's worth a lot.
Bitcoin is like 60,000 right now, and it's like
yeah.
Imagine Shiba's like the currency. I'll be rich.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But you bring up a good point about like the live venue stuff because I think that's a big deal. The thing that I find the most interesting is like, so basketball, right? That's one thing that we talked about. And I don't know if you guys saw like any of the clips from the presentation, but they were talking about how this isn't just going to be like a VR thing, right? Like they're supplementing it with augmented reality, so AR, so like glasses that you would see the real world, but then see like digital things layered on top of the real world. They also talked about supplementing it with holograms. And there was a couple points in time where they showed like multiplayer gaming. So one aspect was like playing ping pong with somebody in like real time and seeing the hologram of their ping pong ball flying at you and then them like doing certain movements. First off, for sure that's 10 years out because fucking latency around here is garbage.
2K latency. I can't be making shots because of latency.
Oh man, but we're not even going. Well, we're probably still gonna want 2K, but like we'll actually be able to play like basketball. Like they were showing it, right? Like using holograms, playing basketball, an actual pickup game with like, let's say we're here in Connecticut and like we'd be playing with somebody in China, like all the way across, the world to actually be able to play. And it's not just like we're using a controller or anything like that. We're actually using our hands and feet and moving around and doing all those different things and being able to have that experience, like that's like a gaming experience, like IRL, but not really IRL.
Yeah,
very weird,
like crazy kind of simulation in a sense.
Very weird.
The thing that always kind of like trips me up though is like how would streaming and all that stuff truly like work in that kind of capacity? Because I'm thinking about it, like usually, like now, most of the people, they set up a little camera, they do their thing how they do it now. But if that's a thing in the future, like how do they even make that work? I mean, I know they're gonna figure it out, but I can't wrap my head around how they do it. Though it's very interesting to think about streaming.
People stream themselves like playing VR games now
with the helmet on or whatever.
Yeah, people stream themselves playing Beat Saber in particular, and it's just like the camera is like showing them moving in like showing them in the real world, and then you obviously see like their gameplay from Beat Saber. So I would imagine that some of it might look like that. Like streaming would probably might evolve to a place where it becomes more like spectator sport, where like you're spectating somebody playing the game, but you don't necessarily need to see like their face, or like they don't need a camera per se. It would just be like you spectating in their like metaverse world. I feel like the possibilities are endless. So like this is a lot of this is really speculation, and obviously some of the stuff that Facebook showed is like very very proof of concept, but holy fuck, like the fact that this is even a thing that a multi-billion-dollar company is betting on right now means like they will be working to make it happen. And this metaverse thing is a conversation that's been flying around for a little while, right? Like, but this is our first visualization of it by a like again multi-billion-dollar company that is Meta, aka Facebook. With that being said, though, Microsoft did have something to say about this, and I'll actually read you a quote they were talking to Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft. And the first thing is they're announcing like Microsoft Teams metaverse, which is weird. But to tie it again back to gaming, so Satya Nadella said they're absolutely focused on gaming for the metaverse with Xbox. He said, quote, "You can absolutely expect us to do things in gaming. If you take Halo as a game, it's a metaverse. Minecraft is a metaverse, and so is Flight Simulator. In a sense, they're 2D today, and the question is, can you take that to a full 3D world? And we absolutely plan to do that." That's like huge. That's a huge quote. Halo in 3D, guys. Like, bruh, we about to be running around with Chief.
You going to work, you come home from work, and you going straight to your helmet, bro. Like fat, like dog. Like there's no, you might eat something. But then you put the helmet straight on, and you just.
Chris, here's the scarier part. but like for real though, here's the scarier part. You don't come home, you're already home. Like you work in the metaverse.
You might work,
right?
Yeah.
So you work in the metaverse, 5 o'clock hits, you now just switch over to another world.
Damn, don't you think that would make the real world and like the actual real world really dark and like dreary and just nobody would care to put any, like because nobody would really care to put any true effort in advertising and stuff anymore on outside. So colorful stuff and all that would like.
I don't fully believe that though, because I guess this is if you assume that the vision that they outlined, well, more specifically, and I really encourage, like, if anybody's like even remotely interested in this, I definitely encourage you to watch like Facebook's full presentation, because even though I don't necessarily want them to be the face of this thing, I do think that the vision that they outlined is probably very accurate to what might happen. It just probably won't be them, fully doing it. It'll probably be Microsoft or Apple, or like I think this is one of those things where, just like the internet as a whole right now, it's like the internet exists as it is, right? And all these different companies do things on top of the internet. So I don't think that there'll be one company controlling the metaverse, right? It won't be Facebook controlling the metaverse. It won't be Microsoft. It won't be Apple, but they will all partner together to make this what it is. So with that being said, the metaverse extends beyond just like VR, right? Like we talked about AR, augmented reality. They showed off a situation where this girl was like out and about, and she saw a piece of street art, and the street art actually had like a code, like a QR code embedded in it, so that if you like scan it or you're looking at it with AR glasses, it becomes 3D in the real world. So I don't know if it would get bad enough to like the dystopian Ready Player One type of society, where it's like, okay, all we're doing is being in our headsets. And I think that companies like Meta and Microsoft and so on and so forth may be aware of this, maybe not, who knows. But I think that you'll see more like in like real world experiences, like augmented reality stuff, where like people will still have to care about the real world, because like this metaverse concept will enhance the real world, and it won't only be you on this headset 24/7.
See, the only argument I have against that, because I agree with most of what you're saying, is that all the things we're talking about now are all the positive, good sides of the metaverse stuff. There is a big dark side that can also
there will be. To this shit. There's no doubt will be. There's no doubt will be a ton of negativity.
Huge dark side that's going to get attached to this. And I think that's the stuff that's going to really, truly be addicting to a lot of different people. That's going to make them be on some, I'm coming home, put my shit straight on type shit.
Oh, absolutely. But those people were predisposed to doing that type of stuff anyways. Okay, so let me push back on you, right? So gaming, where this is where we're at, right? If you're predisposed to be like a hermit, you don't want to go out, you don't want to talk to people necessarily, and like you're comfortable in this 3D world of let's say World of Warcraft, right? People have lost their entire lives to playing World of Warcraft. They've just done nothing but sit home and play World of Warcraft. At some level, those people that's like an addiction. People are predisposed to that type of stuff. This metaverse concept isn't necessarily going to like force, like it'll be another avenue for them to be stuck at home doing this type of thing in a VR standpoint. But again, if you have all these other things supplementing it, like you have augmented reality stuff, you have like your phone being used as a screen in a sense, also the idea of, like we talked about, going outside, going on an actual court and dealing with like holograms. So you don't need to put there's no like screen, like these things look like they're right in front of you. So you're interacting with people in that way. It's another way to get people connected. And I absolutely agree with you that there's a downside to it. I think that the people who would be predisposed to like getting addicted to these types of things and only using a VR headset and never going outside and all that stuff, that's going to happen anyways, I think. So I think when you add in the fact that augmented reality exists and there are reasons for people to go outside and interact and create, I think that part is a good thing, because it can't all be VR. It can't all be inside. Like that's not sustainable.
Yeah. I guess think from, I guess, how do I put this? I guess financially is the biggest draw I see from it, right? Because I kind of see, if this metaverse really pops off the way it is, I see all the positive stuff we're mentioning now definitely being a thing. But then I could very much see not only you have folks who are predisposed to it, like you're saying, but then other folks who kind of like get wrapped into it. Because the thing that we're not really like, I think, touching on also with this thing, like it's huge, but this is like not even just a game changer. This is literally a life changer, I would say.
Absolutely.
Like this is like, this is crazy for some folks. So I think even the folks who aren't predisposed to it, them even being able to experience a different walk of life for a second, just out of their own shoes. So like, for example, the people who, they wake up every day and they go through life and they never feel like they're in control of anything, right? But like, they're not necessarily like a hermit or anything like that. They kind of maybe want to be more social, but they struggle with those things, and they get into the metaverse, and not only is it already a little, addicting by default because you get to free yourself, but then you start having some of these companies get in there, establish their businesses, and then start preying on folks and advertising and blah 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 blah. Oh man, it could be so wonderful, but so you want to talk about toxicity on the internet?
Literally everything you just outlined, though, like literally every word you just spoke. Let's take the metaverse thing out of it, and then let's pop in Facebook. Let's pop in Twitter. Let's pop in Instagram. All those same things apply.
I hear you, but not on this scale, though. Like, this to me is like, I don't consider any of those things you mentioned life changers. Like, they're big, but I think this shit, if done right, is like it literally is something that somebody would develop into a lifestyle.
Okay, so let me,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
let me put it like this then. Okay. Social media came, right? And again, I outline this all the time. Like, I think that the internet has well, I guess it's only really taken two like massive changes in my opinion, and I'm sure people will debate this all day. So the inception of the internet, and like the .com bubble, where you got like the Googles and the eBays of the world and so on and so forth, right? The Yahoos of the world, like the initial inception of the internet. And then you have social media coming around, and I think that that's like the second coming of the internet. That's internet 2.0 in my opinion. So that's what I'm going to refer to as from now on. Social media came, it's here, we're in it now. It didn't feel like a massive lifestyle change, but it is when you think about it, right? People interacting on the internet way more than they ever have. Information being like more readily available and shared than it ever has before. It completely changes how we like do things in the world, right? Like from social justice stuff, like the fact that we can share literally every single thought that's ever happening like in real time, and like showing off videos of God knows whatever the hell it is that's happening. That's like a huge lifestyle shift. And we don't think about it that way because we're already in it. But that's exactly what happened. This whole metaverse thing, I think, is just going to be another iteration of it. And it'll happen and it'll come. And I don't think that we'll think it's as dramatic of a change as we think about right now when it actually happens, because it'll be so gradual that next thing you know, we're in it. Again, the augmented reality thing. Like, I think that's a really big part that I don't think people are talking about enough. The fact that we can overlay and enhance the world around us just by means of putting on some glasses, and like still we're not completely taken out of oh, okay, well, you know, I can't see anything. Like I'm just a cyborg at this point, strapped to my chair. Like, you know, I think that's like the stopgap that doesn't make it um as dramatic of a change as I think maybe you might be outlining. I just feel like when you look at these three phases, they're all very different and huge lifestyle changes, but we didn't feel that going from 1 to 2 as much as I think you're articulating that we would feel it from 2 to 3. And I don't think 2 to 3 is going to be that bad. Like I don't think it's going
See,
to be as aggressive. I think there're going to be problems just like there are problems now with social media. There's a lot of like mental health issues that people have around social
yeah.
media and all that stuff. I think that same problem will come about in this like metaverse world, this internet 3.0, but I just think it's not going to be that much different.
I guess it's the intimacy. And please, viewers, don't think I say intimacy in the sense of like intimacy. more in the sense of like, how do I put this? Like, say for example, right? You're a musician, maybe, right? You're a musician, and you be on the road and you do your thing or whatever, and then you're always away from your family, and that's always a big thing for a lot of them. Or even like athletes, they're away from their family half the year, and it sucks, right? You have a situation where you literally could put on your glasses or put on the headset or whatever, and you can kind of like mitigate a lot of the bullshit that kind of comes with that. And that's where I kind of I feel like you're not wrong in what you're saying. I guess I take it as such a huge leap forward in how we would actually go about life and doing things that it's almost hard for me to compare the two. Like because you said from Internet 1.0 to Internet 2.0, this to me almost feels like not even a 3.0. This feels like when Apple decided to stop going by the numbers and they were like iPhone X. This is what this shit feels like to me. It feels big.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
So I could be completely off on that, but man, I think that intimacy factor is such a huge thing. We're talking about people being able to be in delivery rooms that they couldn't be in for when children are being born. We're talking about, people who are away on fighting wars overseas and all those kind of things. And you're able to bring people closer together, that stuff. I don't care what nobody says. That's way more addicting than fucking logging on to social media and some other, you know what I mean? Like it's so much more of a
I agree with you that it's more, right? It's more. I definitely agree with you. I guess my argument or my pushback was more around like that the type of change that it is. It's like, okay, I think it's like